Hey friends, my name is Z and you're watching Yi Makes It Easy. And welcome to a new video for IGCSE at Maths, and today we have questions for functions. And we looked into the rules and examples for functions last lesson, so if you haven't checked it out, just check out the description or check out my YouTube channel. Anyways, these questions are from DrFrostMaths or DFM, so if you need the PDF, just check out the description or you can check it out on my website. And before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And moving on to the first question. For all values of x, we have this f of x function and g of x function. Find g and then the x value is minus 4. So it's just quite straightforward to how to find this value right here. So we have this g of x function. And we have to substitute this x value by minus 4. So to put minus 4 into the equation, it'll just be this plus 2. As you can see, the relationship between minus 4, this, and this. It's basically the x value. So minus 4, the whole thing squared, is 16, and 16 plus 2 is 18, so the answer is 18. So g of minus 4 equals 18. And number 2, given that this f of x function is 6x plus 1, find the value of x when f of x equals 7. So what you have to do is just replace this f of x by 7 right here, and then you equate them to 6x plus 1. So it'll be 7 equals 6x plus 1, as this is f of x as given here. So just rearrange the equation to get 6 equals 6x to minus both sides by minus both sides by 1. Then divide both sides by 6 to get x equals 1, because 6 divided by 6 is 1. So x equals 1. So x equals 1. Then we have question number 3. Find the value of x for which f of x equals 0 and show clear working. So we have this f of x right here. So we have to just equate the whole function into 0. So let's just do this. 3 equals x plus 1 over x minus 2 equals 0. We can times the whole thing by x minus 2 first to get 3 x minus 2 over x plus 1 plus 1 equals 0, because 0 times anything is 0, and times everything by x plus 1, as well as expanding this bracket. Let's just do it step by step. So it'll be 3 x minus 2 plus 1 x plus 1 equals 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So just expand the bracket to get 3x minus 6 plus x plus 1 equals 0. If you simplify everything, 3x plus x is 4x, and minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5. So equals 4x minus 5 equals 0. To find x, you just move the 5 to the other side and divide both sides by 4. So therefore, the answer is x equals 5 over 4. So x equals 5 over 4. And moving on to question 4. Given that f of x equals 4, we have this function right here. Find the possible values of x. And I'm giving an answer in the form of this, where p, q, r are positive integers. So as just now, you equate this f of x to 4, substitute it. So it will be 4 equals 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x minus 3. And let's just highlight this to make sure that we understand what we're talking about. Like so. So first we can just cross multiply the right hand side. So it'll be 4 equals x minus 3 plus x plus 2, and the bottom is times of x plus 2 and x minus 3. So we're gonna times this by both sides, x plus 2, x minus 3, to get rid of the denominator. So it will be 4 and x plus 2, x minus 3. Simplify the right hand side. There's 2x, and there's minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. And then expand the bracket of the left hand side to get 4, then x squared. Minus 3 times x plus 2x is minus x minus 6 equals 2x minus 1. Then we can just times the 4 by everything to get 4x squared minus 4x minus 24 equals 2x minus 1, and bring everything to one side, in this case to the left hand side. So it will be 4x squared minus 6x minus 23 equals 0. So now we have a quadratic equation. We have to use the quadratic formula, which is x equals minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So now we have to equate some values into the quadratic formula. Let me just wrap this left hand side up like this. So the quadratic formula, x equals, in this case the b value is 6, sorry, minus 6. So minus 6 will be just 6. So it will be 6 plus or minus square root of the inside will be b squared minus 4ac, like so, which is minus 6 squared minus 4 times 4 times minus 23. And if you expand this out, it will be minus 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times the 4 and times the minus 23. We get a big number of 404. So inside it will be 404. Or divide by 2a. The a value is 4. So let's just write out in this way first. Like so. So you can further simplify the the numerator, because you can see that 404 is not the simplest root. So 404 can be separated into two roots of 101 times 4. So it will be 6. It will be like this. Because if you combine the surds together, you get 4 times 104 in the inside, which is just 4. And actually the 6 it can be simplified to 2 times 3. So like so. Oops. 2 times 3 over 2 times 4. And let's just simplify this surd right here to become 2 times 3 plus or minus 2 and square root of 101 over 2 and 4. So now you can notice that we can cancel the 2 out of everything because it's a factor. Let's just rub this out. So in this case, we can simplify this into, factorize the 2 out to get 2, and then bracket 3 plus or minus in the inside, root 101 over 2 times 4. Cancel the 2 out to get 3 plus or minus square root of 101 over 4. Actually no, let's write it in a new color so that you know that it's the right answer. So will be 3 plus or minus root 101 divided by 4. And that's the final answer. So the possible values of x is x equals 3 plus or minus root 101 over 4. And moving on to question 5, we have f of x equals 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. Express f and x plus 2 in the form of this right here. So what you do is that you just set the inside of the x value in the inside to x plus 2. So it will be f of x plus 2 equals 3x plus 2 squared minus 2x plus 2 minus 8. Because what you do is that you actually just like substituting all values of x by x plus 2. Right here. Like so. Then what you do is that you just expand the bracket and simplify it. So let's do it step by step. It will be 3. Then the bracket will be x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 2x minus 4 minus 8. And if you expand the bracket, it will be 3x squared plus 12x plus 12 minus 2x minus 12, because minus 4 minus 8 is minus 12. So you can notice that you can cancel this 12 and minus 12 together, and 12x minus 2x will get us 10x. So the final answer for f of x plus 2 will be 3x squared plus 10x. So 3x squared plus 10x. And for question 6, let f of x equals x squared plus x. Solve f of x minus 1 plus f of x plus 1 equals 6. So there are ways to like just cancel out the power if you like know like the different like plus or minus signs, but in this case I'll just write everything out. So it'll be f of x minus 1, that's basically x minus 1 squared, squared plus x minus 1. And then if you expand it out, it'll be x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus x minus 1. And you can just simplify the 1 and 1, and minus 2x plus x is minus x. So that's number 1. And f of x plus 1 will equal to x plus 1 squared plus x plus 1, which gets us x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus x plus 1, which gets us x squared plus 3x plus 2 if you expand it out. Number 2. So you have to do 1 plus 2 equals 6. In this case, we know that 1 from just now, from the top, is x squared plus x plus 2, which is x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 6. So let's just simplify the left hand side first to as 2x squared. That's 3x minus x, which is plus 2x, and there's only a 2 equals 6. And we can further simplify the 2 to become like 2 minus 6. So it's like minus 6 plus 2 is minus 4. So it'll be minus 4. So now we have we can just simplify the 2 out of everything first, factorize 2 to become x minus 2 equals 0, cancel out to get a final like equation of x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. So we have to find two values which add together to get 1 and times together to get minus 2. So it'll be x plus 2 and x minus 1, because if you times 2 and minus 1 you get minus 2, correct? And if you add 2 and minus 1 together you get 1, which is correct. So when you have this factorized already, the bracket, it'll just be x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 1 equals 0, which means the values of x is x equals minus 2 or x equals 1. And that's how you get it. And then question 7, find f of like 0. So we know that when f of 0, the x value, the original equation is just f of x. In this case, the x value is equal to 0, like so. So we need to find the point of like the value of y when x equals 0. So we have this graph right here, this curve of y equals f of x. It's quite straightforward. You know that this point right here is the x value when the value when x equals 0, which is basically the y-intercept. So we can just look at this point right here, what the y value is, which is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 5. So the value of x when x equals 0, y will be 5, which is basically what this is asking. Like what is this when x is 0? So therefore the value of f of 0 is basically the y value, which is 5. Then there's question 8. Find the values of k. Does the equation f of x equals k only have one solution? So this question basically asks you the value of k where the x value only have one solution. So we can just look at the graph where if you draw a straight line, like a horizontal line, like a y equals something value, because we know that this is basically y equals k, the value of y, where if you draw a straight line you only have one solution. So if you draw, let's say you draw a straight line here, like so, you will have 3 solutions, 2, 3, because there's 3 roots, which is not only 1. We want the values which only has 1 root. So we notice that this point right here is these two are like maximum or minimum point, like the local. So if you draw a straight line on this line right here, the bottom imagine if it's straight line, any point below this, any like y value below this, like if we say this point, this line right here, you only have 1 root, right? Like 1 root. Like so 1 root. So one of the solutions is that when y or k is below this point right here, and this point is when y equals 5. So one solution is where k is smaller than 5. So you have to find another solution where there's only one root. So one thing you can notice is that you can just draw a line, let's say here, and there's only one root, because any point above this point right here, this y value, will have one root. So this is, let's just count, 10, 11, 12, 13. This point right here is 13. So any point above k is bigger than 13 only has one root. And the reason why you can't have smaller than or equal to is because if you draw a line on y equals 5, like y equals 5 like this, if you set k is smaller than or equal to 5, this point also counts because it's also equal to 5. And if it's smaller than or equal to 5, if k were to be 5, there will be two solutions, like this point right here and this point right here, which is incorrect. So we can't have a smaller than sign, we can't have an equal to sign. So the two solutions for k is k is smaller than 5 or k is bigger than 13. And for question 9, f is a function such as f of x equals 2x minus 5, and g is a function such as g of x equals x squared plus x squared minus 10. Find f of g of like minus 4. So first we can either combine the two functions to become a composite function and find minus 4, or we can put minus 4 into this g of x first and then put that value into f of x. And let's just do that first because it's much easier. So if we do g of minus 4, it will be minus 4 squared minus 10. So minus 4 is 16 and 16 minus 10 is 6. So g of minus 4 is 6. So once you have g of minus 4 is 6, you can just substitute the g of minus 4 into the original equation to get f of 6. So like 6, this is, as you can see how they relate. So it will be 2, 6 minus 5. 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 minus 5 is 7. So the final answer is 7. And this is basically f of g of minus 4. So f of g of minus 4 is 7. Then there's question 10. Find f is a function such as this, f of x equals x over 3x plus 1. Find f of minus 1. So it's basically f squared like minus 1. And like just now, you can just put the value of minus 1 into one of the f of x first. So let's just do f of minus 1 is equal to minus 1 over 3 times minus 1 plus 1. So it's basically a fraction here. It will be minus 1 on the top. The bottom will be 3 times minus 1 plus 1, which will get us 1 over 2. Like so. So that's number 1. Then you have to put the 1 over 2 into the original one. So it will be f1 over 2 equals, let's just highlight this to know what I'm talking about. So this value is basically this, which is basically f of minus 1, which is the one that's inside. Because this f of minus 1 would be f of x, and you can match this x value for the f of minus 1. So if you expand this bracket right here, it will be 1 over 2 over 3 times 1 over 2 plus 1. So you can just, what you can do is that you can just simplify the top and bottom. Like the top, you can just remain the top, and the bottom you just expand it out to get like a whole fraction, and combine the two values in the bottom to find a fraction and then flip it. But I'll just save some time and I'll just type it into my calculator to see the value, and the final value is 1 over 5. So that's it, and that means that f of minus 1 equals 1 over 5. Then question 11. F is a function such as f of x equals 2x minus 5, and g is a function such as g of x equals x squared minus 10. Solve g of f of x equals minus 1. So in this case, it's inevitable that we have to find the composite function of g of f of x. So let's just put f of x into g of x. So it will be g of f of x equals 2x minus 5 squared minus 10. Because you can see that this 2x minus 5 is the f of x, which is in the inside, and the outside is g of x. So we can just do, you can just equate this into to minus 1. So it will be 2x minus 5 squared minus 10 equals minus 1. And there's two ways to do it. You can either expand the bracket and then simplify everything, or you can just do the other way, which is you just you just plus both sides by 10 to get minus 1 plus 10 is 9. So if you square root 9, you'll get 2x minus 5 equals plus and minus 3. That's something to remember, because if you square root a number, you get a plus and a minus. So there's two scenarios here. Number 1, 2x minus 5 equals 3, and 2x minus 5 equals 2x minus 5 equals minus 3. You have to find two values for x. So for the first one, 2x minus 5 equals 3, it will be 2x equals 8. For the second one, it will be 2x equals 2, because minus 3 plus 5, you add both sides by 5 to get 2. So now we have the two values for x, and just write it down here in the answer. Therefore, x could be 4 or x could be 1, which is the answers for this. And moving on, we have question 12. This diagram shows the graph of y equals f of x for this, and we have this. Find f of g of minus 3. So we know that from this now, this is basically f of x, and you can substitute this g of minus 3 to the values of x. So we given this function, g of x function, let's just substitute minus 3 into the g of x, the x value. So it will be minus 3 equals 1 over 2 minus 3, which is basically minus 1. So now we have the value of g of minus 3. We can substitute into the original equation to get f of minus 1. You have to find the value of f of minus 1, because this is basically f of g of minus 3. It's the same. So you have to find the values of, you have to draw a straight line on x equals minus 1, because this is basically f is this. You have to find the values which match, the values of minus 1, x equals minus 1, and the y value which matches to it. So if you draw a straight line on x equals minus 1, you know that this value right here is what we're trying to find. You have to find the y value. So the y value lies on the point, this point right here. It's minus 1, 9. So the corresponding y value is 9. So therefore the answer is 9. So f of g of minus 3 equals 9. Right here. And then we have question 13. For all values of x, we have f of x equals 2x minus 3 and g of x equals x squared plus 2. Determine g of f of x and giving expression in the simplest form. So we have to find the composite function. So just put f of x into g of x, so it will be g of f of x equals 2x minus 3 squared plus 2. So as you can see here, this f of x is this value right here, which is inside the x value for the g of x. So let's just expand the bracket to get 4x squared. Minus 3 times 2 is minus 6, minus 6 times 2. This plus 9 plus 2. And if you simplify everything, you get 4x squared. Oops. Let's just write it in a new color. 4x squared minus 12x plus 11, and that's the answer. So g of f of x would be 4x squared minus 12x plus 11. Oops. Then we have question 14. For all values of x, we have f of x equals 2x minus 3 and g of x equals x squared plus 2. Solve f of g of x equals g of f of x. So we have to find what f of g of x is first. So by putting g of x into f of x, you will get 2 bracket x squared plus 2 minus 3, which is 2x squared. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 minus 3 is plus 1. So that's the first thing. And now g of f of x, you put f of x into g of x. So it'll be for f of x, it will be 2x minus 3 squared plus 2. Expand the bracket to get 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 plus 2, which is from just now. 4x squared plus 12x plus 11, 2. Now you equate both functions together with 1 equal 2, which is 2x squared plus 1 equals 4x squared plus minus 12x plus 11, which gets us 2x squared minus 12x plus 10 equals 0. So what you can do now is you can just factorize the 2 out of everything to get 0 and 2x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. And after you cancel the 2, you can just get x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. So now we have to find two values which add to get minus 6 and times to get 5. So, oops. So it'll be x minus, let's see, x minus 1 and x minus 5 equals 0. So it'll just be x minus 1 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0, which means x equals 1 and x equals 5. Like so. In question 15, the function f is like this: f of x equals 3 and 3x minus 4 and this. Find f of x, simplifying your expression. So this is basically f and like this. So actually let's just expand the bracket for f of x first because it's much easier. It'll be 3x minus 12. So that means that f of x, it will be 3 bracket 3x minus 12 minus 12. So if you expand the bracket, it'll be 9x minus 36, because 3 times minus 12 will be minus 36, and outside minus 12 too. So it'll be 9x minus 36 minus 12, which is, let's write it right up here, 9x minus 36 minus 12. It'll be final answer of 9x minus 48. So 9x equals 48, like so. And moving on, we have question 16. The function f of x equals 4x minus 1. The function g of x is kx squared plus kx squared. Given that f of g of 2 is 12, we got the value of k. So this is basically f of x, and the x value for f of x is g of 2. So we know that g of x equals kx squared. That means that g of 2 is k2 squared, which is 4k, number 1. So we're going to put 4k into this because we know that this 4k is the same as g of 2, like so. So this is basically 4k minus 1, number 2. So we know that number 2 equals 12. 12. So it's basically 4k minus 1 equals 12. So it will be 16k equals 13. Therefore, if you divide both sides by 16, it will be k equals 13 over 16, which is our answer. So k equals 13 over 16. And question 17, f of x equals 2x minus 5, g of x is x squared minus 10. Express the inverse function of f, or like inverse, in the form of f inverse x. So we have f of x equals 2x minus 5. Remember to find from last lesson to find the rules and examples for functions. We know that to find an inverse function, you set this f of x equals x and the x equals y, and basically rearrange the equation to find y. So it will be x plus 5 equals 2y, and x plus 5 over 2 equals y. And now you just substitute the y for f inverse. So it will be f inverse x equals x plus 5 over 2. And if you can further simplify this by just taking the 1 over 2 out to get this. like so, and that's the final answer. So f inverse would be half x plus 5. So question 18, we have f of x equals 3 and brackets x minus 4, and g of x equals x minus 5 plus 1. Find the inverse of like the g inverse. So like just now, g of x equals x plus x over 5 plus 1, x equals y over 5 plus 1 times everything by 5 to get 5x equals y plus 5. Uses minus both sides by 5 to get 5x minus 5 equal y. So let's just rewrite this as y divided as g inverse. So g inverse like this equals 5x minus 5. And you can just simplify the 5 out to get 5x minus 1. And that's our answer. So g inverse is 5 bracket x minus 1. And we have question 19. Find f inverse where f of x is this. So like just now, f of x equals 2x over x minus 1. So let's just substitute some values. 2y over y minus 1. So times everything by y minus 1 to get xy equals x. So I times this by this times to get this right here. So I can minus both sides by 2y and plus both sides by x to get xy equals 2y equals x. So now what I can do is I can just factorize the y out from the left hand side to get y and x minus 2 equals x. And I can just divide both sides by x minus 2 to get x over x minus 2. And just substitute the value of y for f inverse to get f inverse equals x over x minus 2. And that's it. So f inverse equals x over x minus 2. And lastly, question 20. We have f of x equals 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x minus 3. Write down the value of x for which f of x is not defined. So so basically you have to find the values of x from the function, which is basically these two, for which the output of the function, the f of x, is not defined. So this is really related to the domain and range as we seen in last lesson. So as it also says here, domain and range. So let's just take let's just split this f of x into two functions, this function and this function. So like 1 plus x plus 2 and 1 over x minus 3. So you have to find the values for x for which this function right here is not defined. So we know that in math, when anything divided by 0, it will be not defined, right? Because you can't have anything 1 over 0, it's basically not defined. Not defined. So in this case, x can't be minus 2. And in the bottom, x can't be 3. So that's basically our answers. So the values of x are these values. So x either so the values of x for which f of x is not defined is x is either minus 2 or x is either 3. And that's it. And that's it for this questions video for IGCSE Add Maths function, where today we look into 20 questions from DrFrostMaths. And I hope you all find it useful and helpful, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you have any comments or constructive feedbacks about my channel or my videos or YouTube or like website, just drop that in the description and I'll reply to them. And check out my social medias in the description, for example LinkedIn or Instagram, for more daily content. And if you need any learning resources or any teaching resources or any resources, just check out my website in the description, or you can type it out in your browser at www.MakesItEasy.com. And I hope you'll find it useful and helpful, and I'll see you all in the next video, which will be sketching graph rules and examples. Until then, stay safe and happy learning.